Yo, what's up, people? I'm doing my first video for my DJI Pocket 2 so that I could do it in my living room. And I'm here bringing you guys my X900H right behind me. So I want to go through my color settings and my regular general settings just on the TV real quick. Not going to take too long. And just explain a couple things about how to make these settings work because it's kind of weird. You do have to do these settings in every possible scenario. So I'll explain that in a second. Let's just get it started, all right? So here's the X900H. On your remote, right, which I'll try to get to show up here, you got your settings cog. So when I say press your settings button, it's this button right here on the remote control, all right? Right here's your home screen. This is what it looks like. It's what you get. You want to hit settings, you'll get this menu on the bottom, okay? You can customize this menu at the bottom here by going to edit. And what I do right away is I leave on picture settings, picture mode. I turn off auto picture mode. I leave brightness on. Your light sensor I turn off. Wide mode I turn off. Sound settings I turn off. Speakers, if you have external, I have a Sony soundbar, so this stays on for me. If you have some kind of external thing, you want to put that on too. And that's really it. Everything else is off. Okay, I make this as simple as possible on the bottom. So we go back real quick. I have my home theater control only because it's a Sony, so that makes sense. But speakers. The reason that I have this is because I can switch real easily from the TV speakers to the audio system. Brightness is great because you can adjust the brightness right from here and you don't have to go into any kind of crazy, extra menu steps. It's just right there. So I'm gonna leave it on 30 for right now. Picture mode, it's good. You wanna be able to change that if you have to. Picture settings and settings. So first I'm gonna go right to settings, okay? So settings, you're gonna go up in here. Also, if you need to get to settings, you can do that from this cog up top right here as well, all right? But I'm gonna go in from my menu, okay? So settings, and when you're in the settings section here, all right, the first thing I do is I go down to device preferences. This is right when you get the TV out of the box, whatever, go in here, go open up about, and go ahead. First thing, I mean, if you really need to make sure if you got a system software update or not, so you're gonna go in there and you can check for it and all that. But once you have the newest update for sure, go ahead down to your build right here at the bottom, scroll it all the way at the end, and just keep pressing your center button until it says you are a developer. Once it says you're a developer, you press the back button on your remote control, all right? And you're gonna go ahead and go down to developer options, which is right here. In developer options, you're gonna scroll down until you get to the window animation scale setting. And you want these three: window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. These will all be on one time when you first get the TV. I change them all to 0.5 times. It's just a preference thing. If you like slower menu options and stuff like that, slower menu changes, you could leave it at one time, but I do this to every Android device I have, and it works great for me. It just makes the menus, like when you go into something and out of something, like hitting back right here, going back, and that's just a faster motion. Normally it's slower if you leave it on one time. So this whole process right here is faster or slower based on those settings. So I do that, and then you can back out of developer options. The next thing you're gonna want is to come back up to display and sound. Now here's where my settings start to get a little different from most people. I go into the picture settings, which is where you adjust everything. Make sure you are on custom at the top here. If it's not custom, it's not good. All right, you wanna be on custom, all right? And you're gonna go, now here's the thing. Also, up top here, this is where it changes. So this says apps right here. It'll say HDR when it's in HDR next to it if you got something that says HDR. So you're always gonna wanna come into picture settings to see what's happening. Your info's up here. Most people don't really explain that either, but it's up here. And I just figured that's kind of something that I noticed owning this TV for a while now. And when I was going through videos, people didn't really hit me with that kind of info. They just kind of went through it and I guess whatever, but you guys know now. Your info's up here. If you're watching HDR, you're gonna see the letters HDR right up here next to this. So you see how this says apps? Here's the thing. I'm on the home screen right now. So it's not actually going to do anything when I change this for my regular apps. That's just not how it works. What ends up happening instead is this changes the settings on the home screen. And this is where it's really important, and I want to stress this to you guys. You have to do what I'm about to do for everything. You have to do this on the home screen. Then you have to open up, let's say Netflix, if you have a Netflix account, and start playing an SDR content video, something that's just SDR. Okay, so not HDR, just something 1080p or 4K that's not an HDR. pause it, then open up this same picture settings menu again, and you're gonna see that the settings you made on the home screen are no longer here, at least not all of them. And you're gonna have to set them up again. Then you have to back out, go into Netflix again, start playing something in HDR, and adjust the settings again. I'll show you guys that briefly, but I just wanted to make that clear. When you plug in things to your HDMI ports, you gotta do that for each HDMI port too. So you just gotta keep repeating the steps for every possible scenario until it sticks. You just gotta get them on all of them. That's kind of a weird thing. I wish there was like a quick, just copy this to everything else, but I don't see that on here, at least not yet. Hopefully in a future update we get it, but right now it's not there. So let's go back into this, all right? Picture mode, custom, absolutely you want that. Auto picture mode, off, light sensor off. I don't want anything else controlling my TV except me. So these two things go off. I choose how bright the screen is. I choose what picture mode it's in. I don't want it to start changing things around. Brightness, here's where we start getting into settings that I do a little differently from most people you'll find. All right, so in your brightness, you get these lines for everything. That's what Sony recommends. And these lines are generally pretty damn good. Sony does a really good job of a lot of things right out of the box. But brightness, you can change on your own. It has no bearing or relevance on the actual picture quality. This is just how bright the panel is going to be. It will not change your colors or anything like that. Just changes the brightness. So this is the one setting. This and gamma are the two things you can sort of change at will based on a situation. I do wish that gamma setting was able to be in that bottom menu I showed you in the beginning, but as of right now, it's not. So it is what it is. Hopefully they'll add that in one day. If you watch the Sony, add gamma to the bottom menu. Here we are, brightness, right? Like I said, change it, whatever you want to do, is fine. Contrast, I leave it at setting of 90. Gamma, -2. That's what Sony sets. It's perfect there for me. Black level, 50. That's what Sony sets. It's perfect there. I don't mess with that. Now, black adjust, this is on non-HDR. There's no HDR up here, so it's SDR. It's just my home screen I'm on. Black adjust low, advanced contrast enhancer low, auto local dimming high, and extended dynamic range low. Most people turn all this stuff off except for local dimming, and they put it on medium most of the time. I prefer my picture like this, low, low, high, low. Listen, I'm not saying that it's the most correct thing to do based on some sort of colorimeter or anything like that, but it looks good to me, so I do it like that. So there we go. Color, let's open that up as the next one. You see the arrows are up. When you click it, the arrow goes down. That gets you into each menu section. Color I leave on 50. Sony does a great job out of the box. Hue, right at 0, great job out of the box. Here's the thing where I differ from most people. Almost everyone says Expert 1 is the correct color setting. That's what you get for your temperature. I don't really like Expert 1. I know it's like supposed to be, the cinematic thing and whatever now. Expert 1's a little yellow, in my opinion. And I'm not a TV expert by any means, but I've worked in color my whole life. So I don't really like Expert 1. I prefer warm. Warm is still not cool. It's still a little bit warm, but it's not as warm as Expert 1. This camera is probably not going to pull off the change as much. I'm in Expert 2 now, which is even more. The more you go in this way to the end on the right is yellower and yellower on the screen. Expert 1, warm, then cool, neutral. Neutral to me actually is a little it's not as neutral. Warm is neutral to me, my eyes. So try out warm, guys. That's what I like. All right, live color, I put it on low. A lot of people leave it off. I like a little bit of boost to my colors. That's just me, just a little bit, not much, it's a little. And I feel like everything looks really good like this. All right, clarity, sharpness 50. That's what it's set at from default. I leave it at 50. Reality creation, because this is SDR content, I leave it on manual and resolution 20. So it's just giving you a little bit of details, enhancement, stuff like that. Random noise reduction, because it's SDR, low, low. It's very important to remember this would be SDR content. If it's HDR, I don't use these settings. I will show you guys HDR in a few minutes. Motion, okay? Motion flow, I like 1 and 1 on custom. Now here's the thing, black frame insertion. You have a 120 hertz panel. You need some form of black frame insertion to reduce motion blur, okay? If you don't have this, things start to look jittery, and if you don't have smoothness, it looks jittery. Like when you see a pan in a movie, side to side, you'll notice some jitter. So you're going to want to put 1 on here in most scenarios. I feel like the 1 does a really nice job. It doesn't lower the brightness too much. If you go above 1 on clearness, your TV gets way darker and it's practically unusable to me. So I leave it at 1. Smoothness, 1 or 2. That is your preference. I guess you could go to max. I hate max, but 2 is okay. 1 I prefer, unless I notice that the film is still a little jittery, I go to 2. Sometimes I can go back and forth to either of these, but I normally leave it 1 and 1. That's mostly what I do. Now, Cinemotion, always on auto, all right? Definitely leave that on auto all the time. Underneath here, you get video signals. These should all be on auto. Don't mess with those. Advanced color adjustment. Now, this is where it gets interesting, guys. Before I show you the advanced color adjustment, that's the last settings right here, okay? I want to show you up here in the beginning where I went to color. All of the adjustments at the bottom will only affect whatever color temperature you are currently in. So if you're on warm like I am and you go down here, let's look at these let's look at the, see right here, okay, I'm on the advanced 157. Those are set up under warm. Watch this. If I go up to warm and I change that to expert 2 and I go down, okay, nothing, 0, 0, 0. Because I did not calibrate for expert warm because I think expert warm is just too warm. So, I mean, expert 2 is just too warm. So I didn't calibrate for that. So understand that whatever numbers you set up in any of this, in any of this advanced color, well, actually this color, the basic one stays. The advanced one does not stay. So anything you set up in advanced color temperature, the 10 point, will not stay across your color temperature. It only goes to the one you put. So I'm on warm, okay? I wanted to make sure you guys understand that. I do this. Now this started from ratings.com, RTINGS.com, and I made slight adjustments from there, but most of it is exactly the numbers that they had. And then plus my changes to color above that I liked and brightness and things like that. The other settings I already changed are not the same as what they did. But the numbers I chose were theirs. They may not be perfect because every panel is different, but I felt like that it gave me a much better starting point. And then I made a little bit of adjustment, like red gain -1, green gain -1, max 2, 0, 0 as you go down, okay? This is not exactly the same as they have it, but it's very close. And then the 10 point. For me, this part I did pretty much exactly how they have it, and it worked out really well. So advanced color temperature 10 point. You're going to be changing the number up here because you got the arrow to the side, but you're going to go down and set these numbers because they're all going to be at 0. So you want 1, 5, 7. Then go up and move over to 2, 7, 8, 9. Then go up and move over to 3. You're going to make 13, 12, 14. Go back up, move over to 4. You got 3, 5, 6. Go up, move over to 5. You got 7, 4, 6. Go back up, move over to 6. You got -2, 1, 3. And you guys are going to have to pause this if you're actually following this, all right? Then you go over to 7. You got 2, 0, 4, okay? You're going to have to adjust that. Then you go back up, you go over to 8, you got -1, -1, 2, go back up, go over to 9. You're going to want 3, -1, 2, go up, go over to 10, and that's all 0, 0, 0. All right. Those are the numbers that are on my TV. And like I said, these numbers, this section I think is exactly the same as ratings.com numbers. That's where I got it from and works really well. My basic one is a little different than ratings.com, but very close. And then that's it, guys. That is your color settings for, now this is on the home screen. So if you're just setting this up, all you did was make this apply to your home screen. It applied to absolutely nothing else whatsoever. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but that's what it did. Now, let me show you something. You're going to go back to your home screen, all right? And this is what it looks like with all the color settings I have. I'm sure it doesn't look great on the video because of, maybe if I come closer, it'll adjust, or if I move out of the frame, it might adjust a bit, but you're probably seeing an overblown image. There you go. It's coming down a bit, but it's how I like it. It's not an accurate color representation really through this camera, but give it a shot. Check it out. I like it. It's pretty good. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to open Netflix just to show you what I mean. So I'm going to open Netflix, all right, and I'm going to say I'm watching, okay, and I'm just going to keep scrolling because I don't want anything to really show up. But I'm going to do, here's an Ultra HD 4K. I'm going to click this and click play, and I'm going to immediately pause this, okay, because I don't want to get in any trouble. There, paused, nothing going on here. All right. So I'm going to hit the settings button here. And I just want to show you in picture settings now, it's still going to be picture apps, but now it says video. Okay. So this is not an HDR. So again, you're in custom, but you're going to see that, see Netflix calibrated mode, it's something different. Light sensor. So off, off again. Your brightness, okay, that's at 40. Remember, I had the TV at 30, but now it's at 40 because that's how I set it last time when I was in the video. So, but this will at least apply to every app on the TV. Every app you install through Android Play Store and all that stuff will stay. So 30, 90, -2, 50, low, low, high, low. Just, this is exactly the same, guys, except, well, look, my color is 52. I gave it a tiny bit more color. So go ahead and try that. 52, 50 to 51, 52. If it makes a difference to you, try it. You got hue 0, color temperature warm, live color low, just like before. Then you go down to clarity. Now here's a little bit different, right? 50, reality creation, manual 20. Actually, it's all the same, low, low, because it's not even it's not HDR content, so it's not, you know, it's got a little bit of a possibility of having some stuff. I leave that on. It's fine. Motion flow. Now this is on 2-in-1, so I can change this down to 1-in-1. But just what I really want you guys to understand is that once you're in an app, it's totally different setup than being on the home screen. Got it? Cool. All right. But everything else is the same here. The one thing that stays, guys, once you set up those all these numbers that you had to plug in at the bottom, these will stay because, like I said, they are tied to your color temperature, which is right here. So if you set that up under warm, it's going to hold up as long as you switch to warm under any circumstance. You're good to go. All right. That's really that. I'm going to back out now of this show because I don't really want to show this show. So I want to get something that shows like Dolby Vision real quick. There we go. So here's Dolby Vision. See, Dolby Vision and Atmos. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit that. And I'm sorry, don't bang me, YouTube, but I really need to teach people how this works. All right. Now I'm in here. Now this is in HDR. So when you hit the settings and you go to picture settings, you already can see my picture mode, Dolby Vision Bright. Picture settings. Picture mode now, instead of, because you see the HDR up here, HDR. So now this will apply to every HDR video that plays through any app on the TV. All right. If you plug in, say, an Xbox, you need to set that Xbox up with its own settings. And it will grab the HDR settings and all that stuff, but you got to open up an HDR thing and make sure it's all good. Everything you plug into an HDMI port, just make sure it's all good. If not, you got to do the settings for it. The one thing that carries over is the only thing that's hard, which is at least the numbers for the color. So you only got to do that once and you're good to go. So let's look at Dolby Vision Bright. The other option is Dolby Vision Dark. I don't really use Dolby Vision Dark much, but you can. I set it up anyway so that I could just switch to it easily in the menu on the bottom. But I mostly use Dolby Vision Bright. Netflix calibrated mode, I always leave off. I find it looks like trash personally. I don't like it. Light sensor off. And now let's look at these settings are a little different. Because you're in HDR, the TV needs its brightness at max and needs its contrast at max. These are your HDR settings now, guys, okay? It needs its gamma, -1. I choose -1 personally with HDR content. But you see Sony recommends -2. It's also fine at -2. I just like 1. That's me. You guys can mess with that. Black level, and like I said, gamma you can change around and see what works best for you. Gamma and brightness, but not on HDR. Don't touch the brightness, leave it at max. All right, but the gamma you can change in HDR and SDR content. So if you don't see the HDR here, you can change brightness and gamma, and it's not going to really affect your picture quality too much. You just get it to what you think looks good to your eye with those two. It won't change your coloring around too much. All right, black level 50, I leave it. Now here's the difference here. Black adjust, low. Advanced contrast enhancer, low. Auto local dimming, high. Extended dynamic range, high. This is just for HDR content, guys. So make sure you start something in HDR, then change this. Color, 50. Hue 0. Color temperature, still warm. Live color, still low. That's just my settings, guys. Clarity, I have this at 55 now, sharpness 55, because HDR content means it's going to be, generally what you're watching on your TV is going to be 4K. So it's going to have really good quality. to begin with, and HDR, I feel like it can handle a little bit more sharpness. So I bump it from 50 to 55. I like it. Reality creation now is off. Why? Because something that high quality isn't going to really have any kind of necessity to make even better artificial sharpening or quality or upscaling of any kind. So it's off. You also don't need to worry about noise reduction with this HDR content because the content should be really high quality. So off and off. In your motion flow, 2-1 or 1-1, up to you. But definitely make sure you have a 1 on the bottom. But I would try 1 or 2 up here, whatever works good for you. 1 gives you like no soap opera effect. 2 gives you a slightly noticeable one, but Sony calls this X motion clarity. You see how it has the line here and the line here? That's what it recommends. I find that you do notice the soap opera effect a little, and if it bothers you, take this 2 down to a 1, just leave it there, you'll be pretty good. All right. Cinemotion, auto. Video signals, again, all auto. And your color, because remember, up here, you put the warm color temperature, you're now looking at the same exact numbers, and you don't have to put them in again. They'll be here. All right, good to go. So that's it. I'm going to back out of all this and go back to my home screen. Exit Netflix. So I'm back on the home screen, guys. YouTube, please don't beat me up. I really did not show any content. I was just showing people how that worked. That's it, guys. All done. Those are my color settings. Try them out yourself. I'm going to be back soon with more videos on this TV. I'm going to do one. My biggest problem with this TV, honestly, was that such low storage space. So I figured out a way to actually move apps over to the external storage that you could plug into USB. I'm going to show you guys how to do that in another video very soon. Take care, guys. Be good. Stay supreme. I hope this video helps you out. Let me know in the comment section if you like these color settings better than the color settings you were using or not. I do. So it's up to you guys. Everybody's eyes are different. Everybody sees color different. Hopefully this helps some of you guys and you guys like my settings. If not, go back to what you were using and enjoy your TV. It's a great television, guys. Take care.